Living that anxiety life. Hey pioneers, what is up? I am back, and this week for Mental Health May, we are talking about anxiety. So I'm going to let you know that when it comes to my undiagnosed diagnoses, I am very high functioning on the spectrum. So my anxiety isn't something that like A, I'm diagnosed with officially, but also B, something that like hinders me in a large way when it comes to everyday life. I can pretty much function like normal when it comes to interacting with other people, doing what needs to be done, and everything with my anxiety. And I definitely feel for those where it is crippling, where it is chronic, where you do struggle with managing it, because anxiety is absolutely tough. It's rough, it's hard, it makes you feel so weak, defeated. Sometimes you don't understand like what's going on, why it's happening, all that good stuff. So just know I love you, I support you, and I understand that it's not something that you just snap your fingers and bam, you're done. But I also know that I have a different experience because I'm high functioning, which I get. And so I'm also speaking to the high functioning anxious people, because we have like a whole difficult other situation going on that's again not any more or less important than the other anxiety, but it's very different for sure. So I would like to start with what I think is the origin of my anxiety, which to my recollection was when my father passed away. So I was 12 and my father was 31 when he died in a car accident. And so I think for me, it was really hard for me to understand, grasp, register, or anything like that. The main thing that I remember is just being like, what? Like how? Because he's 31 and I'm 12, and I assumed, like most people, that he was going to, live a very long life. So I think like the shock of that then caused me to start like trying to think things through in an attempt to protect myself from that like level of shock. Like I'm telling you, that came out of left field. It felt like somebody punched me in the gut. And I know I'm going to do a later video about like that real experience, because I feel like that's important as well. But for the sake of this video, we're focusing on that. Felt like a gut that was so unexpected. And I think because it was so unexpected, I was just like, okay, well now we need to think about every single thing possible that we can think about so we don't feel this feeling again. And I was just like, dang, Ray, we really got to do all that. And so I feel like that morphed and changed, especially with me then being in middle school, boys, girls, interactions, everything like that. Anxiety just kind of kept increasing for me to try to like cope and understand like what was going on, what was happening, how do I prevent this pain from feeling this magnified ever again. So a lot of times my thoughts were very like me trying to be hypervigilant, overthinking. And of course there was definitely a lot of like negativity in there, because my father was that voice that was just kind of like, you're doing good, you're doing the best you can. And so without him, like my negativity that I already felt kind of amplified to where I was just like, wow, I really ain't worth nothing. Don't nobody care about me. Not true in any shape, form, or fashion. But of course, when you have those experiences with people, that's all you really think about and go on when it comes to anxiety and overthinking. So of course, I'm just focused on like, don't nobody care about me because this, that, and the third. This is what Johnny did when he was in school. Felicia did this, like everything going on. Middle school, high school. And so I'm trying to use anxiety and use overthinking to cope, not knowing that it's literally like creating so many neural pathways and like things that I didn't even know that I was doing it until it was presented to me in therapy. And she was like, I feel like you have high anxiety. And I'm just like, what? Do I? That don't sound like me. Knowing full well that's exactly what it sounded like. And of course, me, because I overthink, I'm like looking into it and I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's me, all the criteria, oh, woo. And just, then I got like stressed and I'm just like, dang, I got anxiety. So then I got anxiety about having anxiety. Y'all know what I'm talking about with anxiety. That's all I'm saying. Y'all know the anxiety about having anxiety, astronomical. And so I want to say that with that, there would be times where it would feel like it was too much. Would be times where the thoughts just felt absolutely consuming. And it wasn't until, going to therapy regularly and really starting to sit down and understand like what was going on mentally and in my thoughts was I able to correct it. So my combat with my high functioning anxiety has been to really sit down and think about what's going on in my brain, because a lot of times we can't really control our thoughts, but at the same time we don't have to let them run rampant either. And so a big thing for me was like, okay, well, I'm thinking all these negative things about myself. Why? So I'm sitting down and I'm just like, why do I think people don't care about me? And I'm just like, okay, all these experiences. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's cool, that's cute, but what about the flip side of all of these other experiences, all of these other people going out of their way and making sure that you're cared for and you're taken care of? Do they not count? And then I'm just like, dang, I guess I am just kind of overgeneralizing and making this whole thing when they do still count. Like, that is a thing. And I'm just like, dang, man, that's tragic. And so then after I did that, I'm just like, okay, cool. So when a thought comes, don't just let it exist. Don't just let it go and compound. So instead of it being like, oh, what if this, and this goes wrong? What if this, and this goes right? What if this isn't as bad a situation as you think it is? Really like talking back to that anxiety, talking back to yourself, and not letting it be so, consuming. Because if you just let it run, it's gonna run. It's gonna do, especially when you're used to anxiety, you're used to dealing with those thoughts while you're also dealing with everything else, and it's very easy. But it also creates so much like clutter and chaos in your mind. And I don't like that. I don't like all these thoughts running rampant. So I like to try to run and catch these little suckers down, pin them down, get them taken care of. So that is the way that I try to combat anxiety. And of course, there's also like worship, prayer, journaling. I am telling you, I don't know what it is about me writing my thoughts out. And it's not even me writing because writing hurts my hand, but like I can literally just sit down and type out like everything that's going on in my brain, walk away from it, and then it's no longer just all the way up there consuming me. Journaling absolutely saved my life, especially with me being a woman who is like super big into reading, writing, and everything like that. So like, please journal for the love of Jesus Christ. Please journal. It's so helpful. It's so helpful, like nobody's business. And then I want to say too, like building in some self-love, some self-care, and some like celebration of you, because living with anxiety, having to deal with anxiety, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't come alone, but we'll talk about this little friend next Monday. It's hard. And so like when you can find yourself like being able to not let a thought run rampant, just be like, yo, I'm so proud of you. Like, good job for doing that, because it's hard. It's so hard. And I just need you to know that like, this is validation. Like, you need this validation, because anxiety is no joke. And it's why God says like, present your request to me, all of you who are anxious, like, and I will give you peace. And that's so real too, because I realized that I was holding on to my anxiety, and I was like, nah, God, because you ain't got to deal with all of this. And God was just like, girl, I don't care. I love you. Just come talk to me. And I'm just like, but no, because there's all these thoughts and you don't even want to hear about it. And he's like, I literally created you. Like, I love you. Thoughts and all, whatever you got going on, all the chaos in your brain, I am here to love you. I'm here to support you. What's good? Tell me what's up. And that also was a really good help, similar to journaling, to just be like, okay, guys, so this is going in my brain and this don't connect and this don't connect, but this is all what I'm thinking about. This is what's going on for me. This is how I feel. And for God to just be like, okay, and I love you anyway. And I'm just like, what? You do what? Which is probably the last thing, is accept God's love. Accept the fact that he loves you despite all of the wrong things that you do, all the chaos that you feel is going on in your brain, the worst of the worst thoughts and everything like that. Like, he still loves you. He still cares about you. He still wants you close to you. No matter how bad you think it is, I guarantee you he's seen, heard, experienced way worse, especially in the history of mankind, dealing with the Bible, y'all. He's seen it all. He's done it all. He knows it all. And he loves you anyways. He loves you regardless, despite. And that's something that's so beautiful that we can also embody and take on ourselves. It's like, yeah, the anxiety might feel like it's the end of the world, but guess what? You still have to love you enough regardless, despite, because you're still worthy of love. Whether you have thoughts running rampant, whether sometimes you'd be like, you know what? I really want to kill so-and-so. Like, you're still worthy of love. Don't kill so-and-so, just to be clear. But you're still worthy of love. And I think that's all I got on the topic. Now, of course, you can stay tuned to my Instagram, where I talk more about, tips, tricks, and things like that with anything mental health. What else I got? I got some stuff coming soon. I'm working on it. I'm really excited about it. I will let y'all know. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I love sharing, because I hope and pray that it's like providing that validation for people. I feel like that's the point, that's the purpose of Pioneer Faith, obviously. And one of the things that I love and enjoy is listening to other people and learning about other people and understanding and recognizing that it is not just me. I know it feels so heavy, the things that we go through as human beings, and then it makes it worse when we isolate ourselves and we don't talk about it. And like, these are real things that we deal with, especially as Christians. Like, just because you give your body to God, give your mind to Christ, does not mean that that just turns the anxiety off, or that you do a few deliverance sessions and suddenly the anxiety is gone. Like, anxiety is definitely something that you have to work on. Your mental health as a whole, similar to any other health, is something that you have to be really intentional about and work on. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next Monday.